This list. Oh, key collector, this list.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is good, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles. I want to thank you guys out there for joining me for another Hot 10 breakdown of the week. If you guys aren't familiar with this one, I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for you guys, letting you know which I'm buying and, of course, which I'm staying away from. Like always, before we get started, I want to remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, you guys are definitely missing out. I'm giving away a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 16 once we get to 7,000 subs, and we are almost there. Not only that, I'm giving away an awesome print of Amazing Fantasy 15. I cannot wait. If you guys are not following me on Instagram or on Twitter, click the links below and do me a favor, a big favor, hit that like button for me. With that said, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting off the list this week at number 10 is a copy of Fantastic Four number 52 and the first appearance of Black Panther T'Challa, King of Wakanda. And we just had a CGC 6.5 that just sold last week for a whopping $995, up 6% over the average. Then we have a CGC 6.0 sell for more than that at $1,050, up 28% over the average. You guys know I love this book. It's been all over some of my videos saying right now I think this book is really undervalued. But I gotta tell you this, these prices around a 6.0, 6.5, they can be had for a hell of a lot less. I just picked up a 4.5 copy signed by Joe Sinnott for only $450, which tells me you can get a better deal on a 6.0 and a 6.5, but either way, it is still a buy. Coming in at the 9th spot this week is a massive Bronze Age key. It is a copy of Incredible Hulk number 181 and the first full appearance of your boy Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. And we just had a CGC 7.5 that just sold the prior week for a whopping $5,000, up 6% over the average. Then we had a CGC 4.5 sale of $2,995, up another 7% over the average. You guys know when I speak about this book, I still think it's coming down in price with a lot of other Bronze Age keys. However, if you're a 20-year holder and really love Wolverine and really want this book in your collection, I'm giving it a blessing. I always say if you're going to hold for the long term, you're going to be all right. If not, if you have to sell within the next 5 years or so, I'd definitely be staying away. Oh, you have to be kidding me. Back on the list at number 8 this week is a copy of Omega Men number 3 and the first appearance of Lobo. And we just had a CGC 9.6. You heard that right. Not a 9.8, a 9.6, sell for $158, up 13% over the average. You guys heard me speak about this book a lot, especially at a 9.8. I say I'm not a buyer at a 9.8 at these prices, but at a 9.6, $158. If you guys really want to own the book, I say just get a nice raw copy in near mint condition. Doesn't have to be a 9.6 or a 9.8. If you want the book, have it in the collection. Other than that, I'm not spending where it is right now for a 9.8 or a 9.6. I just don't see the value. Coming in at number 7 is a book that has never been on this list, at least as long as I've been doing these videos. It is a copy of Dragon Ball number 1, the 12-issue English adaptation of the 1985 series. And we just had a CGC 9.6 that just sold last week for $675, up 13% over the average. Then we had a CGC 8.5 sale of $255, up an insane 46% over the average. Unfortunately, we all know why this book is on this list. The creator of Dragon Ball Z did pass away a few weeks ago, I think. So regardless, now people, of course, are buying up these books. I will say this, if you're a big Dragon Ball Z fan, you might want to own these books. The prices are not that bad. For me, I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan. It's a little bit after when I grew up, so for me, it's a no-go, but for you, hey, maybe it's a maybe. At the 6th spot on this list is a copy of Captain America number 100 and the first solo titled Captain America series in the Silver Age, and yes, that is a mouthful. This is also beginning with the issue number 100, and a CGC 8.5 just sold the prior week for a whopping $1,019, up 33% over that average. Then we had a CGC 7.0 sale of $540, up 21% over the average. I always say this is a great book, a great start to a Silver Age run in Captain America. However, I don't want to spend $1,000, hell, even $500 to $600 on this book. I personally do not see the value, but I do know some collectors out there who do, so to each his own. For me, I'm not going to bless it, but for you, you may want to look into it if you're a big Cap fan. Dropping to number 5 this week is a copy of New Mutants 87 and the first full appearance of Cable. And we just had a CGC 9.8 that just sold last week for $520, up 8% over the average. I talked about this book over the past couple of weeks, how I think it's really undervalued in a 9.8, only $500. However, I will say this, you don't need to fork up the money for a 9.8. If you just want to own a book, get yourself a near mint copy. You don't have to spend a ton of money, $100 to $150 just to own the book, but if you're a 9.8 collector, this one's pretty cheap. If you want to own it, I'm giving it my blessing. At number 4 on this week is another classic cover. It is a copy of Wolverine number 8 and this iconic cover by John Buscema. And we just had a CGC 9.8 just sell last week for $330, up 7% over the average. Now, we're talking about modern books. In my opinion, this is one of the ones to get if we're talking about classic covers. However, I don't want to spend $300 on a 9.8. I always see this book for around $30 to $40 in a nice near mint raw copy. That's what I personally would buy. For me, I'm not spending $300 on a 9.8. I don't see the value, but either way, I love this cover and I can't wait to see Patch in the MCU, but it's a no-go at this price. At number 3 this week, and believe it or not, at the same spot is a copy of New Mutants 98 and the first appearance of Deadpool, a subject of the Weapon X program.
Cockshot! Oh, your poor wife!
And of course, we just had a CGC 9.8 newsstand copy sell last week for $2,950, up 10% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.6 direct edition sell for $615, up 13% over the average. I've been saying it for the better part of a year. I only want to own this book in a 9.8 with all the copies out there that have been printed and are still coming out of the woodwork. Why spend all this money and not get a 9.8? It is a big character now in the MCU. He's already been portrayed on screen by the great Ryan Reynolds. Yes, I will own this book in a 9.8, but right now is not the time. Wait for after Deadpool 3 comes out. We'll see where this book settles at, and then we pounce on the 9.8 if we want it. Coming in at number 2 this week and back on the list again is a copy of Wolverine number 88 and the first battle between Deadpool and Wolverine. And we just had a CGC 9.8 deluxe edition sell for $425, up 5% over the average. Here's another book that can be found for around $100 or less, and near mint raw copy can be had. Why spend $400 on a CGC 9.8? It doesn't make sense. It's like throwing money away just because you want to own the grade. With that said, I love the cover. I love the fact this is the first meeting between Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's too much money to spend. Get your copy, a nice near mint copy, for under $100. And what else? At the top spot again, this book will not die. It will not go away. It is a copy of Wolverine number 1 in this iconic cover by the great Frank Miller and the first appearance of Wolverine in his own solo title. And we just had a CGC 9.8 sell last week for $729, up 9% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.4 sale of only $218, up 15% over the average. This book will not die. Every time I see this book, I get sick a little bit. I don't know why. Too many copies are out there and too many people keep buying them up. Yes, that's an awesome cover, but don't spend more than $150 on this book. It is not worth it, I'm telling you now. But it is a must-own book, so get your raw copy, add it to the collection, and just leave it there. Do not spend all the money that you're spending. With that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Some of the same stuff, a very heavy Deadpool versus Wolverine heavy list. Stay away from all these books right now. Let's see what happens after the movie comes out. Unless you find them for a deal, I'd be staying away from most of them. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. It is now time for my best buy of the week, and I'm going with Fantastic Four number 52 and the first appearance of Black Panther. To me, the book is really undervalued. It has come down about 65 to 70% from its highs a couple of years ago, and you can still get a great copy for around $500. To me, that's always worth it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.